Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's get started by looking at the ongoing works of the Chambers of Commerce and how they're coming together to lend assistance to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent. Joining us this morning from Barbados, the Executive Director of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Misha Loban-Clark. Good morning to you, Misha. And from St. Vincent, we have Tony Regisford, who is the Executive Director of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Morning, both of you. I'm going to start with you, Tony. I want you to paint for me the picture of just how the pandemic and now the volcano eruption and now the rains have really impacted the chamber there and your organization.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Of course, you've outlined three events that certainly does not argue well for life and livelihoods and certainly the business community. The pandemic is very much still with us. The management issues that we have with that are very similar to what you have in Barbados. Unfortunately, in St. Vincent, we have more of a vaccine hesitancy here than I observe that you have in Barbados. So that's creating some issues in terms of vaccine take-up and our acceleration to herd immunity. Clearly, the pandemic has affected the business community in very much the same way as it has affected you in Barbados. The same sectors that were more impacted, the tourism sector, hospitality, recreation, leisure, in particular, the beauty and body care type people, and also retail. That has been seriously impacted here in St. Vincent. So we are in a situation where we're experiencing an economic downturn and challenging times. Now, as you rightly outlined, on top of that, we've had the volcano looming and eventually erupted 3 weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And that certainly was a sight to behold, if I should put it another way. I use that term because on the one hand, it was nature in all its splendor. If you saw those ash plumes up in the air, you had no choice but to look in awe. It's not something you're seeing in the movies. You're seeing it right there in front of you.
Yes.
Quite fantastic. But on the other hand, the impact, the ash fallout, you felt that in Barbados as well. So you've got a first-hand experience of what we experienced here. I think most of the disruption from the volcano in terms of business activity was from that ashfall. The ashfall came heavily down in the south of the island as well. And the south and mid parts of the island is largely the commercial sector. Now, of course, you know that we had to evacuate up to 20,000 people from what we call the red zone. And the red zone is immediately at the foothills of the volcano, and the volcano is north. So that, in a nutshell, is what happened to the people in the red zone. They had to move out, and this is where the issue is. Mm-hmm. How do we cater for those people? How do we take care of them? The relief effort, and that's where all the energy is going right now. We've got 20,000 people to look after, and that's where all the energy is going right now. I want to get quickly into how the Chamber of Commerce.
I'm going to come to that. I am going to come to that, but I wanted you to paint the picture for us, because sometimes from where we sit, we don't quite get all of the complexities that you're managing there. Ours is somewhat, we know ours, but we don't quite know yours. Yes. So I wanted you to paint that picture for us. And naturally, so with a combination of all of these forces, there's going to be fallout. We've seen here closure of some businesses. I don't know if you have that to that same extent there in St. Vincent.
We've had businesses certainly experiencing reduced demand. And some people have, hit the pause button. Um, the difference, I think, between your economy and our economy is that you are surely more tourism dependent. And um, while we are as well, we're not as dependent on the tourism sector as you are. But surely, whatever tourism sector we had virtually came to a standstill, you know. So there were layoffs, um, but not total closures. The downstream businesses that were impacted, I imagine some of them um, fell off. But in the retail sector and the manufacturing sector and so on, those continued. We never really had a complete lockdown. Um, so we never shut the place down entirely. So we were able to keep the wheel turning,
Right.
um, which, for businesses was quite good.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, we've got two compounding factors here. The pandemic and now the volcanic eruptions.